Hello and welcome to Reddit Replies in this video. What popular rumor in your school turned out to be true? There was a family in my town that fostered to adopted all their kids. Everyone had known one of their daughters since she was quite young, and then they adopted another girl her age when we were in 8th grade. They did not get along. When the original girl developed epilepsy a few years later, her new sister claimed she was faking, and everyone thought she was so fucking mean and ostracized her. Eventually, she had to fess up to faking the seizures all along when she signed up for basic training, which she never even completed. Unfortunately, this was after we all graduated, so we never got to apologize to her sister. In high school, that the biology teacher was growing weed in the environmental lab. Supposedly, he did it for 30 years without anyone noticing. No one could ever prove it, though. Later on, I was assigned to be the agent taking care of some of his financial matters, so I went to his house to have him sign some paperwork. He had a hydroponic setup there, so I asked him about the environmental lab. It was like Han Solo in The Force Awakens. It's true, all of it. Then he offered me a brownie. Our science teacher was having an affair with our science technician and regularly left the class to have sex with her in the technician's room. That rumor started day 1, then 4 years, 2 divorces and 2 very quick departures later it was confirmed, and what was left behind was a technician's daughter in my year whose life had fallen apart. That one of the seniors in my school wrote all over the men's room bathroom about bringing a bomb to school. The bomb squad evacuated us all. Dogs came and they found one in a random locker. It was absolutely nuts. Kid got arrested 2 seats next to me in English class a couple of days later once they could prove he did it. That a 12-year-old 6th grader had gotten pregnant over summer break. Our Los Angeles County suburb, it was a small and far separated from LA itself, see how large that county actually is on Google if you are unawares, was so scandalized by this rumor that a newspaper article came out with a cartoon drawing of a pregnant girl in a pretty little girl dress and ribbon in her hair, playing with dolls and kneeling next to a dollhouse, accompanied the story about the little girl who got pregnant and planned to keep the baby. She was interviewed. I remember her name, but it's unnecessary. The whole damn town knew who it was. What's wild is that the kids in junior high actually had a baby shower for this 7th grader as she got close to full term, and all brought in packs of diapers and formula for her on a designated day, with the teachers, principal, and probably the school district in support of this. The year was 1984 to 1985. In my Catholic Jesuit high school, one of the priests and one of the nuns were very close friends. We all loved them, and we could see that they were quite fond of one another, and they made a really nice-looking couple. We used to affectionately kid them about meeting in the tunnel between the convent and the rectory. A few years after my class graduated, they both left their orders, got married, and had kids. We're all happy for them. In middle school, we had a cool social studies teacher. He loved the popular boys, especially the athletes, and not only ignored bullying in his classes of unpopular kids, he often took part in it. He also offered up his services for tutoring to these boys. Everyone always thought he was a child molester, except the popular boys who would threaten you if they heard you talk bad about him. When we came back to school at the beginning of 8th grade, he was gone, as was one of the more popular boys in school. He transferred to an insanely expensive private school. Turns out, sure enough, he was molested by the teacher several times during tutoring sessions at the teacher's house. The school district agreed to pay to send the kid to private school as part of a settlement. Paige was pregnant. None of us believed her. We were 13 and we were just about to start sex ed classes in a few weeks to learn about sex, so we all thought she was making it up. Then she started to gain weight, but she had always been kind of overweight, and so no one really believed her then either. Then she brought sonogram pictures in because she was sick of people not believing her. Most people believed her after that. Then she got taken out of school, and this was back when FB was super popular, and everyone was talking about her baby. A few months later, she had posted all these pictures. Sorry I didn't believe you, Paige. I looked her back up when I was 15. She had a second kid. These took place in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Girl in my high school got into a very bad car accident and was in the hospital in a full body cast for a very long time. During that time, her boyfriend somehow managed to get her pregnant and she later had an abortion. Years after high school, I became friends with someone who was her best friend in high school. She told me that it wasn't the first time this boyfriend had gotten her pregnant or that she had had an abortion. Also, there was some controversy over whether the hospital sex was consensual or not. Also, her parents had to pay a lot of money for her to get therapy. Also, in high school, there was this kid I viewed as an arrogant punk. He always had a ton of money and was into photography. Apparently, his father was a professional photographer. The rumor was that he was paying a lot of money to the hottest girls in our school to pose nude for him penthouse style. At the time, I'd seen Playboys, but no penthouses, and didn't realize that the poses in Penthouse were a little more explicit. I ran into him a couple of decades later, and we went to a nearby bar to have some drinks. He seemed very humble at this point, as if life had and grinded him down. He admitted to me that he had become an alcoholic. I told him about the rumor and he confirmed it, saying his father had put him up to it, and that his father was the one who wanted the pictures, and that was why his father gave him so much money. After his father died, he inherited all his stuff, and while going through some boxes, he ran across the pictures. He destroyed them immediately, not wanting to get caught with them because they were of underage girls. I'll add this one, even though it has not been confirmed, and is probably somewhat true, but not completely true as told. There were rumors that a girl who was a senior when I was a sophomore appeared in a porn film while she was in high school. Again, this was the late 70s, probably 1978, and we were only about 20 miles from San Francisco, where a lot of those films were being made at the time. Also, she would have been 18 at the time. There are a few guys I know who have spent the last 40 years trying to find this film. I think that with the internet and all the resources available, IMDb, IAFD, Samster, and so on, if this film existed with her in it, someone from high school would have found it by now. I've heard from another that may know that all she did was agree to be an extra in a scene where she and... Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.